First story. OP wants to kick his sister out for harassing his fiancée, but wonders if it's okay to tell their parents the real reason. He's afraid it might make him look bad because it involves revealing his sister's sexual orientation. I, 27M, live with my 27F fiancée, Annie, and recently my sister Mia came to live with us. Mia has never actually told me she was a lesbian, but I've always kind of knew she was. Anyways, my parents asked if Mia could move in with us because she can't see her friends since they're high risk. I agreed, and Mia has been living with us. I've started to notice changes in her behavior around Annie. Mia has always been shy about her body, and at most will wear knee-length shorts on a very hot day, even with family. Now she's basically always in sports bras and booty shorts. It was odd, but I haven't lived with my parents in 6 years, so I don't know if she changed her home habits during the time I was gone. I just brushed it off as a self-esteem boost and was proud of her. Then she got especially close to Annie. I assumed it was just admiration, but then it got super weird. She was sticking even closer to Annie, and it wasn't like she was butting in on us when we were being romantic, but it was like she was trying to prevent romantic moments from happening by trying to direct Annie somewhere else. She would also leave the room, or look sad when we kissed. I got the feeling she had a crush on Annie. I confronted her about her feelings and told her that it was fine if she had a crush, but she was taking it too far, and she denied it. Now my sister knows I know she's a lesbian because a few years ago, I sent her one of those "if ex-friend was ever more than a friend" texts. She denied that they were more than friends. I told her that I'll always be here to support her and moved on. Things would stop for a while, then pick up. We would have this conversation, then the cycle would repeat. Annie figured out that Mia probably had a crush on her and was uncomfortable by the entire situation. A few weeks ago, Annie kind of sister-zoned Mia and things just escalated. She openly flirted with Annie to the point where Annie didn't even want to be at home. We couldn't do anything romantic at home because she might see it start openly bawling in her room. Mia was very cold to me and always snapping at me for small reasons. I had enough when she made breakfast for Annie and her using the food I specifically bought for myself, and Annie walked out crying. I pulled her aside and told her that she needs to stop right now, or I will kick her out. She acted like she didn't know what I was talking about again, so now I'm definitely kicking her out. The only problem is my parents. I can just kick out my little sister and not tell them why. If I tell the truth, my sister will be outed, but if I tell a half-truth like she made my fiancé uncomfortable, they'll hate my fiancé because I can't actually explain what my sister did to make her uncomfortable without outing her. My sister deserves a chance to come out, and this isn't like I accidentally outed her either. Is getting herself outed a consequence of her actions, or would I be the a-hole? Edit. I'm just going to clarify why I can't say that the living arrangement wasn't working out. Like I said in the beginning, my parents are high risk, so she cannot see her friends at all. So if it just wasn't working out, they'd tell me to suck it up until the school year starts. If I didn't, I'd be the heartless jerk who doesn't want to let my sister have a social life. Second, I don't think they'd believe me in the first place, because I've never had a problem with my sister. They'd just assume I was covering for Annie. Update. Since some of you requested an update, however, the result wasn't the happiest. I received many "you would not be the a-hole" judgments for asking my sister to leave, but it would be considered "you would be the a-hole" if I revealed her personal information. I accepted it at that point and was going to have a talk with my parents without outing my sister and being especially vague. Then to my surprise, there was a string of NTA for both. The reason being my sister's behavior was a crime and needs to be addressed immediately. I decided to just talk with Annie, who was the victim, and asked her what she wanted to do. With the exception that there was no debating my sister getting the heck out, she said she wanted to tell my parents what happened because they deserved to know. I couldn't agree more, not because like some of you suggested I wanted to out my sister for revenge, but because I think part of the blame is on them. Growing up, I was always the smart kid, and she was always the social kid. My parents put my education over her events. She couldn't invite her friends over because I was studying if she was invited to a friend's birthday, and I had tutoring around the same time. She would either have to walk to her friend's house, be late, or not even go at all. At some point, they realized how this was affecting her and just let her do whatever she wanted. When I needed it to be quiet so I could study, they would just ship me off to my uncle's house. I didn't mind. My parents would let her do what she wanted, but they still gave me more attention. So yes, like some of you suggested, my sister definitely needs therapy. So we talked to my parents after we kicked her out. We told them what Mia did, and I think my dad believed us, but my mom didn't. This part is now all just being relayed from my parents. They went to my sister, and to my surprise, she came clean to everything. She admitted what she did was wrong, but she just couldn't stop herself, and she was just so angry at me for getting all the attention all the time. I had all the good things, she didn't. Well, it ended up in a shouting match and they kicked her out. They kicked her out of their house, but they moved her into my aunt's. They gave her an ultimatum, either go to therapy or receive no financial support from them, with the condition that if she doesn't start therapy within the next 5 years, they will not be paying for her sessions. I think they should pay either way, but it's their money, so not my place to say anything. I haven't heard from my sister. She texted Annie to tell her she's sorry and asked her to meet up, but she hasn't reached out to me. I probably wouldn't have responded if she did, though. I'll also be looking into getting therapy, even if I'm angry at my sister and never want to see her again. I also feel like I lost her. Yes, Mia was outed in the end, but I think that considering everything, this is the best outcome for her too. Thank you for all the responses. OP's husband and best friend have been cheating on her for 5 years. I, 39F, married my childhood sweetheart, 40M, almost a decade back. We have known each other all our lives. We were neighbors, went to the same school, played together, grew up together, fell in love, and have been each other's first in every possible sense. In high school, we were a group of 6 friends, 4 females, 2 males, including me and Hector. I was dating Hector, and another friend, Sally, female, was dating Trey, male. I married Hector in 2011, same year, Sally got married to Trey. We relocated to the same city after marriage, and our friendship grew only stronger. In 2014, Trey passed away in a road accident. Obviously, it was an extremely painful time for all of us. Hector and I were planning a family which we put a hold on, and decided to move closer to Sally's place so that we could support her unconditionally. Sally heavily relied on us emotionally. She slipped into depression. Due to my nature of work, I couldn't stay at home, unlike Hector, who was between jobs at the time. He managed our household chores as well as ensured to be there for Sally. I really appreciated his gesture and loved him all the more for his emotional maturity and kindness. I was in a more stable job and was supporting us and tried to be there as much as possible. In 2016, my son was born, and in 2018, I had my daughter. Everything was going wonderful. In hindsight, almost feels like a dream. My parents wanted to see the grandkids, but due to COVID, they haven't been around much. I planned a trip with kids to my parents' place. Hector said that he had official commitments and can't get out of it. The trip was 2 weeks long. Anyway, my mother suggested that I could take a 2-3 day break with Hector and leave the kids with them. Seemed like a brilliant idea. I jumped on it. I planned a surprise for Hector on Valentine's and booked an overnight staycation at a luxurious hotel. I reached home on 14th at around 11 a.m. and found Hector and Sally in a compromising position in the living room, on the fucking sofa. Fucking sofa! I stood there in complete shock for a few seconds, which felt like ages. My whole world crashed in that moment. There were apologies. There were words that I don't remember. There were tears. A lot of it. I can't even begin to put it in words how I felt. I feel angry, hurt, sad, broken, humiliated, betrayed, and I want to die because that seems like a better option than to live in my current reality. I stayed at the hotel I booked for the both of us and asked Hector not to reach out to me. Hector came to the hotel on 15th, and when I asked how long this has been going on, he said that it had been only a few weeks. I asked him the exact date when it happened for the first time, and he stammered. After a lot of prodding and requests, he confessed that they have been doing it on and off for 5 years. He said that Sally was extremely vulnerable after Trey's passing, and they bonded emotionally. Then he said that I'd always be tired and didn't want to have sex with him. Well, sorry if our son kept me up and my responsibilities went over the roof. Sorry for not sucking his dick because I was taking care of our son who was completely dependent on me for survival. Sorry for not being able to coddle him because our son needed my attention. After the screaming went on for a while, he said that he feels sorry for whatever he has done. I asked if Sally hasn't dated anyone after Trey's demise, because she is dating him? He nodded. I felt like I couldn't breathe. He kept begging me to not leave him and that he will mend his ways, and that he loves the kids a lot. He doesn't want our kids to come from a broken home. He says that he loves me a lot and can't imagine his life without me. He also says that he doesn't know what he feels for Sally, but is willing to cut all ties with her and even move to a different city if that's what I need. Sally messaged me saying that she never wanted to break our family and that she was extremely lonely and he was emotionally and physically available and it just happened and that they didn't plan it. She also says that she is willing to do whatever I want her to. Feels like my head will explode. I have been crying inconsolably and my mind cannot function anymore. I feel like my whole world has been a lie. The birth of my daughter has been a lie. All our holidays, dinners, laughs, special moments, all of it has been a lie. We had weekend dinners with each other every fucking week. She used to babysit my kids. She is their favorite aunt. She has been a part of our family all the while she was fucking my husband. I can't get the image out of my head of Hector sucking her. I keep thinking about my children, and then about what a freaking lies my life has been. Who do I talk to? Who do I trust? None of it makes sense anymore. Open to any freaking suggestions and comments at this stage. Update. First things first, thank you for your replies and DMs. It is helping me to hold on to whatever little sanity that's left in me. My first impulse was to scream in public and post everything on various social media platforms. But I was also aware that once posted in public knowledge, it couldn't be undone. I am dealing with a lot of heckling right now, and I don't know how long I can keep up with it. This sub doesn't allow posting images. I posted a few screenshots on my wall, if that's what it's called on Reddit. Anyway, Sally attempted and was in the hospital. It just keeps getting worse. I came to know about it from a few friends who messaged me regarding her health. I haven't responded to any of it. I called my brothers and told them everything. I am currently at my parents' place. My brother informed my parents, parents told my in-laws. I'm glad that I didn't have to repeat the entire ordeal all over again. My in-laws and parents are still neighbors and are pretty good friends. They want me to file for divorce immediately. Yesterday, Hector came to my parents' place, and when I said that I didn't want to meet him, he went to his parents' place. My mother-in-law saw Sally in the car and immediately asked Hector to leave. She also informed him that as long as he continues with his bullshit, he isn't welcome there. There were a lot of words exchanged. His siblings, brother and sister, knew that he had feelings for Sally, and they said that a couple of years back, while they were drinking together, Hector told them that he feels extremely protective of her and feels responsible for her. They swore they didn't know that Hector and Sally were fucking. They did say that they told him to focus on his own family, rather than the widow of his best friend. Anyway, my husband keeps sending me messages despite my requests, and he is acting out. He is scared that I might file for divorce. My father-in-law has apparently told him that if I file for divorce and if he dared to make my life difficult, FIL will disinherit him. As far as I know, this is not going to settle well with him because he will lose a lot. Hector is currently working, has been in his job for the last 1.5 years, but he earns 20% of what I earn. I wanted to know if there's a timeline for filing for divorce. Does it benefit the party who files first? Can he claim spousal support from me? If I want minimal contact with him, would it be better to file for sole physical and legal custody? The mortgage of our home is in my name, but I don't want to live there anymore because I can't get the image of them doing it out of my head. And now I keep wondering if they did it in our bedroom too. It keeps getting worse. What are my options? I want to see a lawyer only when I am sure that I want to go down that road. As many of you suggested, I am saving all the messages that proves their infidelity, just in case if that's required. TBH, my naive heart did think that we could overcome this and rebuild our relationship, but his constant heckling makes it easier to give up on us, if there was an us, ever. I haven't informed any of our mutual friends or colleagues. I thought there wouldn't be any going back once this info is in public. I am seeing a therapist virtually. I don't even know whether that's helpful or not because I just stare at the screen and don't talk. My kids are fine. It's 3:40 a.m. here. I don't remember when the last time was. I slept. Edit. I refrained from sharing the ones with horrid details. In one of the messages, he has written that if I file for divorce, he will kill himself, and then I will be responsible for making our children fatherless. A thank you note from OOP to Reddit. I didn't think anything could assuage my grief, but your messages, comments are acting as a cushion, if nothing else. I have spoken to my parents and in-laws, and I have shown them a few messages too. It pains me immensely, but I am also aware that divorce is our only option. My inbox keeps getting weirder, and his recent messages are absolutely bizarre. From pleading messages, he has gone to explicit sex messages, to screaming at me, to telling me that he will fucking kill me if I leave, and apparently he will go on a killing rampage too. I have voice messages of him masturbating and grunting. I don't know what's worse, those messages in itself or my mind running wild and imagining Sally and Hector doing all of it. From a loving partner, he has turned into a monster. I wish I could block his number or force myself to leave it unread. I am witnessing a different man, a complete stranger. Sure, he has my husband's face and his name, but this is not the good-natured, loving, caring, and kind man I fell for. He is petty, pretentious, insincere, arrogant, and a selfish asshole. He is not the man I loved. My son has his eyes. My daughter has his nose. I look at them and wonder what I did to deserve all of this. They remind me of not their loving father, but the monster that he has become. I feel ashamed and awkward around people. I think I am stuck in a what-if loop. I have a very supportive family, but when they look at me, all I can think is that I let them down, and that prejudices will be a part of my daily life now. I never thought that I would be one of those who have breakdowns on social media platforms. How terribly the tables have turned. Haha. Only now I know that it's easier to scream in the abyss than to deal with people in real life. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your kindness. Anyway, my brother has spoken to an attorney friend and to our local police station. My father-in-law is having a word with H. I have lost my will to breathe, eat, or converse. Typing this message took me 2.5 hours. I will speak to a lawyer tomorrow. Apologies if none of it makes any sense. My mind has gone into self-preservation mode and goes blank every 2 minutes. Sentences, grammar, language, or words are least of my concern right now. Husband's post? A friend sent me links of her post. I was still trying my best to work things out, at least for the sake of our children. She has turned my family against me, her family is harassing me, and now few of our friends know. Her stupidity is unparalleled, as she decided to use the first alphabet as our name. It got to me, and many of our friends know. My wife is sick. She thinks that she can show her money around and I will follow her everywhere. She conveniently skipped how traumatized I was after my best friend's death. She also skipped how Sally made me feel sane again. I have been living with a woman who is always tired to give me a BJ on a bad day, but somehow she is always charged up when our kids need something. She turned me against my own children. She wouldn't have sex with me, and if Her Highness decided to do it, she would make me feel shitty about it. I can't tell you how many times I had to hold my rage and had to try hard not to pin her down and fuck her. She has made my life miserable. She bought our house and doesn't shy away from telling that to people, as if she is the man of the house. She has zero respect for me and has done nothing but smothered me. She keeps telling me to work harder, enroll in new courses, work on myself as if I am not good enough for her. She would also casually slip into conversations that she would finance my higher education because bitch thinks that she owns me. After the delivery of our children, she was on maternity leaves. She didn't even look at me twice. I had to hold the babies to gain her attention. Once I wanted to have sex with her, and she looked at me with such disbelief as if I asked for the fucking moon. She said she isn't allowed to have sex because she has unhealed stitches. Obviously, I wasn't going to be an animal. I was going to be extremely gentle and careful. But she made me look like an asshole for asking for sex from my wife. I remember very clearly that I told her that I don't feel loved by her. She asked what she could do, and I suggested she could let me suck her breast for some time. I mean, our son was having his time with it anyway. She said no, looked disgusted, told me to grow up, and cried. Bitch cried. I was the one who was struggling. She cornered me emotionally and then broke down as if it was all my fault. She pushed me into the arms of Sally. Sally was comforting and knew how to calm me down. My wife just knows how to lie through her teeth and how to earn money. I'm pretty sure she's having many affairs at her workplace. She always dresses up for work and is always tired when comes back. I mean, what is she doing there? How many people are banging her that she is so tired? She has a way with men. I am sure that's why she has my father wrapped around her finger as well. My father has threatened to disinherit me, his own blood. Why would he choose her unless he is getting something from her? My brother is not talking to me too. I was feeling a little horny and sent her a few messages, my own wife. You know what she did? Showed it to my mother. Why? Because I wrote in details how I would want to do her. She says that I am traumatizing her. Bitch, I am your husband. She should thank me that I have respected her and her wishes all along, and didn't fuck her when she pretended to be tired. In my head, I have done 1 million things to her, and the moment I share those, she feels disgusted by it. At least my sister is on my side and told me that my wife is planning to get restraining order against me. What the hell is wrong with her? Why can't she behave like a normal person? Shit happens. People cheat. You work on it. You move on. I am not running away. I am right here. She could talk and figure it out. But no, all she wants to do is play victim. Is it my fault that every time I get a boner only when I think of her? I told her that even if I am doing it with anyone, I only think of the kids holding on to her and not allowing me to get close to her. If that makes me angrier and hornier, whose fault is it? Especially my son. I am freaking serious. He plays fraud with me. He never leaves her alone. I hate that shithead. If I am trying to have a moment with her, he will have thrown tantrum. When I told her that I regret we had him and that he makes me freaking jealous. She laughed as if it was nothing. Bitch laughed. Sally has been sick, and I tried to be with her, to support her, and my wife made a deal even out of that. Would you leave a friend who just attempted? She's a threat to herself. God knows what my wife has said to her because she isn't talking to me anymore. You all are siding with her as if it's all my fault. Know the whole story and then decide. Fuckers. OOP's update. I have been receiving numerous messages from concerned Redditors worried about my children and my safety. This is to let you know that my children and I are safe. We were able to get an emergency protection DVRO for now, and we are hopeful to get a temporary RO. At least my phone will stop buzzing now. Many of you have also messaged me a post by my husband. Unfortunately, That despicable rant is just the tip of the iceberg. I have 109 pages of wretched and vile messages, most of it being horrifying monologues and dick pics. And it also includes very detailed rape threats, child endangerment. He said that he would rape me in front of our son to teach both of us a lesson, so that we remember who owns me, and he will abduct our daughter because she shouldn't grow up with a whore mother. I have submitted all of it to my attorney, who swears that ours is an open and shut case, all thanks to my deranged husband's outbursts. To the questions I keep receiving, no, he wasn't like this. Ever. None of us, his family and mine, recognize him currently. Turns out my husband and I remember our pasts differently. In his post, he mentioned that he asked me to do certain kinky stuff with him, and I rejected the idea. He didn't mention that within a few minutes he apologized, whipped a cake for me, had a long talk with me, and brought breakfast in bed the very next day. That's just one instance. Right now my brain is oscillating between many similar memories and trying to make sense of this entire nightmare. I will not be able to post for a while. I need rest. Thanks.